Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Rise and Thrive with Dr. J. Nicole, where we are rising in faith and thriving in purpose. Today, we are going to be talking about faith on your terms and building a personal relationship with God. In this episode, we have with us Samuel Q. Elira Sr. Esquire. He is a well established attorney here in the state of Maryland. And we're going to be talking about building that personal relationship with God. And what if your relationship with God wasn't about religion, rules, or rituals, but more so a deep connection, personal faith, and spiritual growth? Many people struggle to find their own path to their relationship and connectionship with God and often feel pressure from religious institutions, traditions, and or family expectations, and even societal, right, about what their relationship should look like. In this episode, we're going to explore how to cultivate a relationship with God that is authentic, personal, and that's free of the fear or of obligation. So, whether you've been hurt by religious institutions, feel disconnected from traditional church spaces, or you just want to go deeper in your faith, this conversation will give you the tools to rebuild your spiritual foundation on your terms. So, before we get into it, let me tell you a little bit more about our special guest. So, Samuel Elira Esquire is the founder of the Elira Law Firm LLC. He holds his Juris Doctorate from the Cooley School, in Western Michigan. And he has a bachelor's in criminal justice from Bowie State University. Come on, HBCUs. With experience as law clerk for the 29th Circuit Court, the State Appellate Defender's Office, and prominent Maryland law firms. He has worked with a wide range of legal matters, advocating for indigent defenders. Outside of his obligations in the law and practice, he is deeply committed to community service, including mentoring youth, founding the Elira and Co. Foundation, which focuses on addressing homelessness in Maryland. His endowment to Bowie State University reflects his dedication to supporting future generations of students, and particularly those pursuing careers in criminal justice. Let's give Sam a warm welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today.
I appreciate the welcome. The pleasure is mine. This thing you're doing is a wonderful thing. I may add
Thank
for sure.
you. Thank you so much. Okay, so for today, you want me to call you Sam or am I calling you Q today? What we doing?
You know what? Call me Q.
Okay.
Or call me what you like. I mean, call me what call me what you're comfortable with. But either one is fine with me.
Okay, well, I might, depending on how serious the question is, I might be like Samuel.
Yeah, but know the way those two names are used interchangeably. People that know me.
Hmm.
You know what they call me Q. But in professional settings and people that might not know me as well, then it'll be Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I be doing both. It just depends on what I be feeling like. Okay, so let's talk about we've been told like what it means to kind of like know God. And I want us to kind of like rethink that a little bit, right? So, in your opinion, what is the difference between religion versus having a relationship with God?
Think it's simple. Well, I was gonna say it's simple, but I guess it's not one of those simple questions. I guess to everybody. To me, being religious is what you how we raised, going to church, right? We told we should go to church every Sunday. We should go to Bible study. We should read the Bible. That's that religious. To have a relationship with God, you could do all those things, Jenny, right, and not have a relationship with God. Right, even the Bible. I mean, even the devil quotes scriptures. Even find the devil in church.
He's a believer. The devil's a
Right.
believer. He was in heaven. He was an angel.
There you have it. But for me, s having a relationship with God, is, you know, knowing God, knowing that God is inside you, inside us, God is near us, God is within us, and I think, how can you truly have a relationship with God if you don't have love? So I think, having a relationship with God, of course, reading the Bible is definitely key. Read the Bible, meditate on the Bible, but really just showing love, expressing love to people. Because for me, God is love.
Yes.
So when you're expressing love and you treating people the way they should be treated, I think that's God in motion. I think that's how I look at it. Outside of just going to church, is truly just having that personal
Yeah.
knowing that God is with you.
I think it's a knowing, it's a feeling, and it's an experience. That goes with all of that. And even as you were describing like religion versus relationship, I also kind of heard tradition, right? Like, cause some of those things, because this is what this is what we do, right? Sometimes is part of that is tradition, is practices. Where some people too, they might see religion as like the organized part of it, the how, but sometimes all of that can get mixed all up into one and people don't know how to separate the two.
And let me add this: religion, being religious, I think that carries with it the element of confusion.
Okay. Tell me more about what that means.
You know what I mean? Because you think about all these different religions in the world, right? I think if it's not thousands, I forgot what I read, but it's a lot. And while a lot of them may have like a similar component, they differ in a lot of ways. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And you imagine a lot of the wars in the world that transpired because of religion, right?
Mhm.
And people's faith might be different, and it causes conflicts and things. I mean, confusion and conflict. And I don't think that's godly. I think God he's not a connected with confusion or
He's not.
that sort of thing. So it's something to say about that. About
Mhm.
religion. I think again, is the creation of it doesn't sit right with me. I'm more on the line of having that relationship. Although I was raised a Christian, so I'm on that side of things,
Yeah.
going to church, and I
Yeah.
think that's important too. But the relationship with God is more meaningful.
Yes, absolutely. Because, like you said, some people they could be in church every week, but really don't have an intimate relationship
Yeah,
with God. And when you think about it, like Jesus didn't come here to establish religion. It was about restoring connection. It was about giving everybody access to salvation, right? And so, and what that looked like. And when Jesus came, he shook things up. The Pharisees and Sadducees, those religious leaders of that time, they were the ones who wanted to crucify Jesus, right? Like, so
yeah.
like when you think about that, that's just like really huge in how he just really flipped it away from organized religion and about like doing good and about the heart and the character of Jesus. What does faith, in your opinion, look like outside of like a traditional church structure?
What I said in the beginning, love,
Okay.
love. I mean, think about it like that. A lot of outside of a lot of Jesus' teachings, outside of what you just mentioned, just having that reconnection with God and just reinforcing it was a lot of just speaking in parables, but more so teaching people how to live a better life and teaching people about, just the God, within, teaching people about, of course, how to pray, but more so just like God is near you, God is within you. It is within you and also in your presence. So, and the other thing that he walked around and taught was how to treat others, how to love. That's truly, it's everything is about love. I remember this one passage in the Bible, Jeannie, where, and it was so profound to me, and it still is, that it made me really think, just reflect on this passage. It says that you can do all these wonderful things, speak in tongues, give to people, the needy, and clothe the needy, shelter those who need shelter. You get where I'm going with it, right?
Hmm.
And you can still go to hell and still fall short and do all those things if you don't have love.
Yeah. Which is if you don't have God.
That's profound to me. Like
Yeah.
you can speak in tongues, so but you think about it, somebody speaking tongue, you think this person is holy. They have something, they
Yeah.
can speak in tongue, they can, heal the sick, but you could still do all these things and not go to heaven and still not know God. That's just so powerful to me. It's just profound.
Yeah, it's huge, and I think it also sends the message, like, don't get caught up in outward, sometimes performative things too, right? Like what's in a person's heart.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's the like it really is.
But what I kept pondering on though is how can you do all those things
And not.
and I love and I have love like how I'm like to me it's more like a contradiction like that's why I think it's that verse is so profound to me. I'm like yeah I like that a lot I don't
Yeah.
ask me to quote where I got it from I don't remember but
Yeah, if you
I
could
just
get
know
it to me
what I
before
read.
this airs, that would be great, so I can include it, on the inside. Because 'cause I'm even thinking I know the scripture, but I can't think about, like, where exactly it
I
is in
got
the
you
New Testament.
I'll figure it out while we talk.
Yeah, absolutely. But, yeah, it makes sense, but also, if we think about this, like, from, like, modern standards, sometimes what if they just doing it for a tax write-off? You don't gotta know God to get that tax write-off. You could do good, you could do charity and not not know love or not engage in love.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay. So you mentioned a little bit about being like a growing up as Christian. So like talk about if you would be so kind about like your development and foundation of your relationship with God.
Talk about my development you said.
Relationship with God. Like what that was like, the foundation that was set for that, what that looked like.
Well my dad is a preacher.
Come on, PK.
Grew up in
The
the
more that I
church.
do these episodes, the more that I'm finding out that people are PKs. That I was like, what? But I knew you
Yeah,
were a PK.
yeah. Grew up in the church, the whole Sunday school, everything. I come from a big family. A lot of my brothers, my siblings, they sung in church. Even I think one of them even preached or at least, gave a sermon here and there.
Yeah.
Choir, all of it. I was the what do you call it? Scapegoat or just the black? I think the black sheep was what you call it, right? I wasn't
Are
neither one of those things.
you really the black sheep?
Well, I wasn't in the choir. I didn't preach, but frankly, I think, and I think it goes on with the relationship in the religious thing. I think I've always had a
Okay.
relationship with God. You know what I mean? So I think that was always there. I don't know how to sing. I couldn't be in a choir. I don't know how to sing. So from to me, I guess the ones my siblings who was more so into it, the religion setting, I was looked at as the black sheep. But I guess if we're talking about development these days, I think I see myself. Of course, I still go to church. There might be a Sunday here and there I don't go, but I think I go part of the habitual nature of it. Like it's habit. I'm used to going to church every Sunday. But I think now I've developed like a more so a religious, not religious, a more so a spiritual relationship to kind of go along with going to church. You know what I mean? I'm with God. So I look at it differently just simply just going to church these days. I think the development is more so just building with that spiritual side of it as well, and opposed to just you're going to church because you were taught to go to church, you were told to go to church,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So when I meditate, you know what I mean, and these are some things that help with that. And you know what I did? I don't know if I shared this with you before. What I did, or at least once or twice, that helped with the relationship aspect of my development now is fasting.
Mhm.
I need to do it more, really, because that sacrifice, and just that discipline and that specific nature of I'm putting this time aside for God.
Hmm.
That's powerful to me. You know what I mean? Although, like, as far as still talking about development right now, these days I see myself just trying to have that idea, just of God being thankful, even if I'm not, getting on my knees saying the prayer, like I'm acknowledging, remembering, thank you, God, just saying thank you in my mind and throughout the day. I think that's important. That's a form of prayer, right?
Absolutely.
So that's development. I wasn't doing that then, right? And then now I do that a lot of that more. Just trying to build on that relationship. I don't know if that answers your question. I think it answered the question,
It
right?
does. And this is listen, this is a conversation, right? Like this is not a job interview. You gotta get it. You know what I mean? We're just having a conversation. But like what I heard when you were talking about your experience growing up as a PK, being part of a big family, and some of your siblings having more gifts that align with like religious traditions and practices, right? And I think that can speak to some of the pressures of being a PK and what people put on you just because of who your parents are. Oh, you should be doing this or making you feel like you should be doing that.
Yeah.
When you just got done telling me about fasting, that takes a
Mhm.
whole other type of like discipline, right? Like, and I'm not saying this because I don't know much about your siblings and what their relationships with God look like, but some people, they might be able to sing, they might be able to preach, but fasting they struggle with, right? So, like, every gift and like what your relationship with looks like with God and how you show up, it doesn't have to be outwardly consumed for others.
Mhm.
And yesterday I happened to listen to this motivational talk, and it was talking about fasting and appetite and how important that is and how the enemy really can come to try to come at us through appetite. And they
Mhm.
talked about how even in the Bible, when one of the times, because Jesus, he stayed going out in isolation and in wilderness and like meditating in quiet time with God, and where it was one of the times where Satan told him, like, where Jesus was hungry. I think this when he was out there like 40 days or whatever, or something like that, where he was like, well, if you're the son of man, turn these rocks into bread, right?
Mhm.
That's appetite.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and then also they talked about how, like with Esau, he gave his birthright to Jacob for a bowl of stew
Oh,
because
look at
he was
that.
so hungry.
Look at that.
He gave up his whole legacy, his whole inheritance for a bowl of stew because he wasn't thinking straight, right? And when you think about fasting and the power of fasting, is that's a whole other level of discipline. And like you said, and like spending that time with God and allowing him to be your food. And the Bible gives us so many messages about those who hunger and thirst after righteousness shall be filled.
No, for sure, for sure. And then, even with fasting, we forget outside of the spiritual aspect of it, just the health benefit is just
Yes.
beyond measure, what I hear about. That's why I said I need to do it more for sure. And even if it's just not up for a religious thing, just for on a health standpoint, it's important.
Yeah.
But no, just with fasting, it's aside. You know, I'm putting this time aside. I'm gonna read my Bible. I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna meditate on God. I'm gonna do these things and on these specific time frame. Like, because I think that one time I fasted, I think that was the most I've read my Bible on a consistent basis because
Yeah.
I
And
make
you
a
read
point.
a lot.
You know what I mean? But then I don't read my Bible as often. I read a lot,
Mhm.
true, but not the Bible. But then during when I did fast, I made it a point. That's what I was reading in certain increments. You know what I mean? So look, the whole nature of the aspect of having a relationship with God is a ever growing journey. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that's with just life in general. We were supposed to evolve. We're supposed to grow, right? And with God, it's always this ever changing journey. So I like the fact that I fasted and I did that. I want to do it more. I need to read my Bible more. It's a lot of things we need to do better. And we're sinners, is what what the word said. You know what I mean? We're sinners, and it's just a matter of just continuously trying to do better on a daily basis. That's all we
Yeah.
can do.
And to
Try.
live to be more like Jesus, absolutely. So, in the most recent time where you fasted, did you experience like a different type of clarity at all? Because some people say that comes with fasting, So, it could even be like spiritual clarity. It could even be just like clear, like the work that you do, right?
I cannot say that I did in the sense of on the conscious level. Let's just say that. But I definitely recognize that it was definitely an important journey. It was definitely an important thing that I did, and it was really good. And I like, like I said about me just being closer to God. I think well, outside of having any sort of epiphany, I think that I acknowledged that I was doing things to get closer to God, and I like that feeling. I enjoy that feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if anything.
Yeah, and I remember you saying to me that you like want because people around you were getting closer to God and how you wanted to kind of like experience that. So I love to
Yeah.
see that you're moving in that direction.
It's good to have people in your circle that motivate you generally.
Yes.
But if you have people that motivate you to seek God or get closer to God, that's treasure that
Yeah.
you cannot find or in terms of monetary value. And
Yeah.
you one of the people, you know what I mean? I appreciate, your growth, your journey, and this what you're doing right now. I think God is pleased with this.
I like to think so.
I applaud you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for joining in this, right? Because that's what
Yeah.
this platform is all about, is giving him the glory. So let's talk about this a little bit, right? Like breaking free from like religious pressure and guilt. We talked about it a little bit, right? Like um some people, and I don't know what your specific experiences is, but just like unlearning like religious pressure, and for some people it might even be trauma, and just letting go of fear-based doctrine to really be able to tap into God. Like what are your thoughts on that?
When I saw the topic, I was looking at what you said to me, and I was trying to think of, do I have any certain religious trauma? And I started
Mhm.
thinking, um,
And
and
that's
I
why I
guess,
said pressure too, right? Because it's not
yeah,
always trauma.
well, it's always pressure. I mean, because as far as we think about religious, there's the whole idea of, you're supposed to be better or do better, or certain things you cannot do, certain things you should not do, certain places you should, that all of it, right? Places you shouldn't go, all of it. But trauma wise, I think, and even the pressure too, in that same sense, I was thinking about growing up when, I went through a time when, the whole guilt of listening to rap music overpowered me. Like I threw away all of my rap CDs at that time, and I was a big Tupac fan. I still am.
Even Tupac?
No, and that's all I was really listening to, really. Well, not just Tupac, but yeah, I just stopped listening to rap music for a long time, threw away all my um rap CDs, and again, that's that religious aspect of it. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're a Christian person, you should not listen to rap because you're a Christian. But there's a lot of rap that are, conscious based, that you can learn from, that is good for the mind. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of trash out here, right? That
Exactly.
feeds your mind that is not good for you. But there's also, things, good rap music that'll that make you think. So yes, I think for me, that's what I was going through around that time. That there's that guilt, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, and I just remember I just threw everything away, but I had to buy everything again as far as like the Tupac is concerned.
Yeah.
Because Tupac, is a big fan.
Well, and that also gets to how, at least what I think about growing up versus now, or maybe it's just my perspective as an adult, where things are black or white, right? Where you either you do or you don't. Like we only do religious, we don't do secular. It's only Christian, like you're saying with we're getting rid of all of your rap. But like you said, there were actually conscious rappers and songs and things that have good messages. But like some people, they're very religiously rigid is what I call it. And that was what I had a struggle with. Like it took me a minute to really and truly realize how much of a church girl I am.
Mhm, mhm.
I didn't always like, well, let me see. I love church. I will say that. Like being a kid, I remember like early, it's like 4 or 5, asking my mom, call Auntie Ruby. I want to go to church with her. Right. Like, like what? I wanted to go to church.
You said 4 or 5.
Yeah, I was like 4 or 5, and I remember that I used to like to go to church, and it wasn't just because the ladies always had candy, right, to, like, give you at church, but I wanted to go to church for some reason, and I can't remember, but I guess it was, like, my connection with God, but, that's like, you get these messages like right or wrong. And I think because there sometimes isn't enough space for people to figure it out, people feel like they have to, like you said, throw away all their rap music. Some people, they stop talking to everybody they know. They go really extreme with it. And I don't think that's what God wants us necessarily to do. He doesn't want us to do stuff out of obligation. He doesn't want us to do stuff out of fear. He wants it to be like out of our hearts, or to be able to say, I'm listening to, I don't know, I'm not going to say any artist name because I ain't trying to drag nobody, right? Like, but I'm not going to listen to this song or this artist because they can. their messaging specifically speaks to these things that don't align with me. But then also sometimes when people are younger, they don't know the difference to be able to say, I don't want to do that. People are definitely heavily influenced by music. So I get
Oh
why
yeah,
you would do that too.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, especially if you think about who. How can I phrase this? Especially if you think about the control and the influence
There we go.
that the devil has,
Through music.
and because of who he was.
So if the people don't know, tell them. Tell the people.
You
Educate the
know what I
people,
mean? Because of
Sam.
who he was
Come on,
in
Q.
heaven, when the word say he was in heaven, you know what I mean? How influential and how that was what he was known for. That was, music and I don't want to use the word entertainment, but just I guess praising God and just that worshiping. That's what he did. Music. He was known for that outside of many other characteristics and traits, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, music is definitely impactful. But I wanted to say something that I wanted to say, comment on something you said about, people that wickedness, people stop talking to some people or stop doing X, Y, and Z. Well, I would say sometimes maybe that you have to stop talking to certain
Yes.
people, or stop doing certain things. But it goes to what I said earlier about that verse. And I need to find that verse that you could do all these things and more, and still, at that last day, God and judgment day gonna say, I don't know you. Away from it. So, yeah, I think all in moderation, but you can do certain things, but doing it in conjunction with, just that relationship, seeking God and just, making sure that you all right with God. Right.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on how I feel like we're going in this direction already, right? Like how like legalism can keep people from like a true spiritual connection. And when I say legalism, I mean those rigidly religious people like the Pharisees and Sadducees. And like when you think about how like Jesus came back and he like challenged things. They're like, we don't do this on the Sabbath. We don't, that's unclean. You know what I mean? Like the extreme of it. Like how do you think that can keep people from having, like, a true spiritual connection?
I mean, it happens all the time. But let me tell you this: when I was looking at the brief and I saw that word, I said legalism. What is this legalism? So I had to look it up. But
Good.
I'm thinking as a lawyer, you thinking legalese. I'm like, well, I don't think she
Uh-huh.
means like legalese,
No.
but no, like the strictness of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, if when I say it happens every day, think about people who don't have a best Sunday suit to go to church,
Mhm.
or someone who is now that's the word I have to find a word for this because of the uh environment that we in now. The people that are traditionally that are not your
What are you
people
like,
who
you not about to cuss, you can speak freely, we not at church.
well, listen, um same sex people. Let
Okay.
me say this.
LGBT community.
Yeah, if you're for those the people that has idea or certain churches may not be so accepting of these people. Or in my first example, if you are dressed a certain way, certain churches are not accepting of you. You know what I mean? When the church aren't welcoming people as they are truly. So if you is one of those churches or those communities that are so strict in their ideologies or the way that they treat people, that might not sway some people to not to come to this church. They might say, "Well, I don't feel welcome here." You know what I mean? And not
Yeah.
not just that, just or it may very well be because just that being judgmental
Mhm.
towards people for doing certain things, right? Because a lot of religious folks think they so worthy than thou, right? So, and I think that might turn a lot of people off as well.
Absolutely, but the whole point of it is like those are the folks that need to be there. The people that folks are turning away is not for people that are like holy and righteous. This is who we need to be focusing our ministries on and bringing in closer. And when you think about it, what you were saying about like Sunday's best in attire, back in the day, they only really used to have two outfits. They only used to have 2 outfits, so this whole thing that you need to, like, look a certain way, like, that came out of other things, and yeah, so that's some of the stuff that comes out of, like, tradition, but that has nothing to do with God. Those are the man-made interpretations and, like, traditions that we put in place that can really impact the, relationship that people are able to have and to, like, come in and to be in, like, spiritual community and in like, a faith-based community and connection.
See, let me tell you this. If I speak in tongues of men or angels, but do not have love, I'm only a resounding, going, or a clinging cymbal. If I
Mm,
have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains,
mm,
but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor, and give over my body to hardship, that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing.
mm.
1 Corinthians 13:1-3.
That's very it just sounds First Corinthians because they talk about love so much in First Corinthians. So you said that's First Corinthians,
1-3. And I think it's the same verse. And later on, it goes on to say faith, love.
love is patient, love is kind. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the same verse. But yeah, that it just so profound. How can you do all these things and not have love? How?
People
And then
are
how can you
disconnected.
imagine you do all these things and then not accomplish anything? That's powerful to me. But yeah,
It really is, and it just really speaks to the simplicity of life. God is the foundation. So, talk a little bit about creating healthy spiritual practices that actually feel natural but not forced.
smiling at people,
Hmm.
just smiling, say hi. You can imagine, you know, a lot of people are not used to other people speaking to them, and a lot of times they don't know how to act if you say good morning or how are you, or so
Hmm.
they just don't respond. But the word meditation can be so broad. People that are elementary in it. Uh, that's not to say I'm a expert or nothing, but you can just sit there and just not do anything, just don't think. And then again, you'll be surprised how hard it is or difficult not to that little voice inside, not to stop it. Or sometimes just let it ramble, let it talk, and just observe it, or
Yes.
think on God, or just there's a lot of ways to meditate. But I think that's important. In short, be loving to people, express love because
Hmm.
God is love. I think those two things don't feel they don't take too much to just speak to people, just be pleasant
Hmm.
to people.
Yeah. So, what I'm hearing you say is to really exhibit the character of God, like love, when you're going about your day to day interactions with folks. And people aren't used to it, which also speaks for the need for love and for God, like in the world. And nothing that you said was like so extraordinary, right? Like God is amazing. He's everything. Like he's so huge, but he's always accessible and it's very easy to connect. You just have to find your ways. And I think the more you do it, the more it becomes organic. So like even when you're talking about like with like meditating, so you're also describing what I hear in my mental health brain is like mindfulness, being present
Mhm,
and just like observing and just like being present in the moment. But also there is beauty in that silence. Like if you can calm your mind to just let certain things come up to be heard because we're always taking stuff in. We're scrolling, we're watching, we're listening, we're reading. But just what happens? Like, what do we like just like think? When do we allow our like soul to like, speak in that inner voice or
mhm,
to be able to pick up on what God is putting down for us?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm also thinking about and just doing these little things to, build that relationship with God or get closer to God. We talk about meditation. And you mentioned, just being present. And you can see how you can use meditation to, to build on the relationship with God because if you're present and you're not thinking about a whole bunch of other things but that moment, or you're focused on your breath and you're listening or feeling your heartbeat. And I think in that moment it helps it can have a to have more gratitude, to really
Mm,
be more grateful for, hey, I'm breathing, my that pound is, or you're listening to the birds and you're listening to nature, like, oh, God created this. So it's just in meditation you can learn to just acknowledge God's profoundness and just just being grateful for
yeah.
what we have.
I love what you said. Can you hear the birds chirping outside over here where I am?
I feel like I can hear him over here too.
Oh, okay, because you said that. I was
That's
like,
why I said
you
it.
can hear
Yeah,
my birds?
yeah.
But that's also God, like, all the stuff we see and hear, like, in nature, that's God's soundtrack. Like,
That's
and when you really tap in, your senses can when you're present, the senses heighten. Like, I love being out in nature, going on walks, and I'm like, I don't even see flowers, but I smell them. And then I walk a few more feet, then there they are. The rustle of the leaves, the random butterflies. I be seeing bunnies go across. You know, Maryland, we a little country, so it still be a lot of wildlife and bugs and stuff that you can see. And I just absolutely love it to be able to feel the presence of God and see him. Like I was walking today looking at the sky, I was like, yo, the sea is split. We got the sky, like, we have the sea and then we have the sky. That's you know what I mean? Like it's just
Mhm,
beautiful.
mhm,
It's
mhm.
just beautiful. I was gonna ask you something else, but I got carried away in all the mindfulness of it all. I was gonna
Yeah,
respond to something that you responded to me about.
yeah.
But yeah, man, God's it's really amazing. The simplicity of it. And you were also talking about meditating. You could also meditate on scripture. Like if you're facing a particular challenge, and even like the fasting you were talking about earlier. So even with a lot of people with fasting, meditation is a part of that. You talked about like reading the Bible. Like when you did this, like do you pick a particular scripture or do you just kind of like open it and see where God leads you?
Well, let me not speak like an expert. I
You
think I
are
did it
not.
once
I'm
or twice.
asking you
It happened.
about
I
your
think I meditated one time, and it was recent though. I think the other time I did it was so long ago. That's why I say once or twice, but most recently, but
I'm asking you about your lived experience, and you are an
yeah,
expert on that.
yeah. Well, did I pick a particular? I don't think I focused on any particular scripture. I think it was more so just making sure I read and meditate on the word and just putting that time aside for God, praying. Definitely, yeah, praying. Yeah. So remember, I said in the beginning, I think I prayed throughout the day in terms of just saying thank you. That's a form of prayer, right? But in this particular instance, when I fasted, I actually just put that time aside. When I'm in the office, I would go in the other room, and I would sit there for like, and I would say a prayer,
Yeah,
and so that's what I mean.
yeah, yeah. I love that because sometimes people, when they fast, they're fasting for particular things, and so they do pick, like supporting scriptures and things like
Yeah.
that to help with that. Okay.
But don't get me wrong. I think around that time, I definitely was going through a particular struggle in my life, and I think that certain scriptures were drawn to me.
Okay.
So I guess in that sense, to answer your question, maybe if I didn't start with a specific one, I think as I'm reading certain scriptures would draw to what kind of I would pay more attention to because of what I was going through at
Okay.
that time.
Because I was just curious because I think when things like that happen, God has a way of showing up.
Yeah.
And if you didn't go in with the plan, I was like, he still sends you where you needed to go. So I
Mhm.
like to hear that you said, you know what, there were things that still like kind of like showed up. That was what you needed or that like resonated with you. Okay. So we've been talking a little bit about like meditation and hearing from God through stillness, but like, is journaling incorporated at all in your practice, in your relationship, building your relationship with God?
I don't think it. I journal. I've always journal. I always journal. Even if it's not daily, every other day, so I
So it's a
journal.
regular practice though.
Yeah, it's a part of life, and the reason why I pause, I don't think I do it specifically on a relationship or spiritual level, but I think that while we having the conversation, that because a lot of my journals, like it's about things like, hey, reminding myself to be pleasant to somebody today, or this happened, and remember that I know you're going through this, but God is with you. So in some aspects, it's reminding me that certain aspects of God. So I guess in a sense, it does help. I'm pondering on certain things, right? I'm pondering on God as I'm journaling sometimes. So it helps in that aspect. But I've always journal. I think it's definitely something important thing to do.
How'd you get started with journaling?
That's a good question. I don't even know because I'll keep my journals too, and I remember not too long ago going back and I picked up one of my, and this is one of them by the way. This is one that I have in the office, and this is almost.
Okay, you got all the volumes over there.
But yeah, now listen, I keep a journal in the office and a journal in the house just in case I don't journal when I'm home. When I'm at work doing my break, my lunch break or something. If I do take lunch, I'm journaling. But yes, I picked up one of these and I look back and I saw I had a journal back in 2013,
Yeah,
2011. So
yeah.
I don't know how it started. I cannot answer that question, but I know it's been a very long time.
Well, 'cause you're a writer. Like, yes, you're an attorney by profession. Like, yes, you're a published author, but like you're a writer. That might be one of your natural gifts.
Probably.
Yeah, and especially when you have a lot going on and, like, from what I've observed of you, like, your brain you be processing a lot, like, real fast. So, I think when your brain moves like that fast, it's very important to be able to get it out, or that
Mhm.
makes the perfect condition to, like, write, because there's so much in there, and it's just, like, another way of processing, and, like, with journaling, when I really thought about it more recently, it's almost like and now let me see if I can get my numbers right, but it's like 7 to 10 times in which we're processing it, right? Because one, you've already experienced it, you felt the thing. So now you're thinking about it. And I don't know about you, when I think about stuff, I hear it, I
Mhm.
visualize it, I might feel it all over again. And so
Mhm.
then we're actually writing it. And then when you're writing it, you're reading again. I mean, you're reading it, but then I say it again, right? And then what's am I missing another one? Writing, reading, and then anyway. So you see, there's so many levels and layers to processing that happens through journaling, and we think it's just as simple as a thought in paper. No, and like we're so amazing is that we can see without sight what's up in here, and we can hear without external stimuli. You know what I'm saying? We can have a whole conversation and there's no sound. And I think journaling is one of those things that help us to process it on so many different levels, but also it's an opportunity to be like, oh man, I didn't even know it's that deep. I didn't realize I felt that way. Or I was tripping.
Mhm.
I got it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a form of therapy, form of meditation. I mean, not meditation. Yeah, form of therapy for sure. Maybe meditation too, but it's definitely a
Hmm.
form of therapy for sure. You're not speaking to somebody, calling somebody like such as yourself to pull down, their troubles and seek help. I mean, that journal can be that person that's listening to you. You're speaking in essence of that journal, right?
I always tell my clients both, right? Because sometimes you still like you can get it out, but then sometimes you don't know what to do next.
Mhm.
Right. And one, I encourage people, like, I consider myself a faith led, like, therapist. Right. So it's not just me. Like, you don't need God. No, 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 no. You might need both. Right. And even for me, journaling is a personal practice of mine. When I journal, my journal is talking to God, even if I am reflecting on my day. It is an opportunity for gratitude. It is also a time for me to take my things to him and to like certain things that I may want him to take off me and what I want them to be replaced with. And even just like surrendering, like, God, help me to be more like you. Like you say, help me to lead more in love. Like, I had this encounter with this person today. Lord, help me because the people be people.
For sure. People,
Listen, because they be doing stuff that you may never even think of in your own mind. But like,
yeah,
and a lot of times what we're seeing, the way people are showing up, that's trauma. That's trauma. It's a lack of love in their life. And so that's why it is sometimes very important. So you share the First Corinthians scriptures, but are there any other scriptures that like resonate with your personal journey and that like really help with your relationship with God?
oh, I mean, I'll share this. There's a year old sage, who's renowned in Indian culture. His
Mm-hmm.
name is Patanjali.
Mm-hmm. Told you you'd be
And
reading.
the aphorisms of Patanjali, I think it's called How to Know God.
Okay.
And it's something he said in there that's as almost as profound as that scripture I just told you. Certain things just poetic and just I like to think. I like things that make me think. And he said, Um, and this book, there's this book that kind of talks about understanding the divine understanding God, or just trying to just how to connect with your highest self, right? He
Mm,
said, when you are steadfast in your abstention from thoughts of harm directing towards yourself or others, all living creatures will cease to feel fear
mm,
in your presence.
mm.
So if you can abstain from having any negative thoughts for yourself or anybody, so no ill feeling, just again back to this whole theme of this whole conversation, what love, right?
Mhm.
Just having no animals will have feel any sort of fear. That means you could walk around in front of a lion, he might not even do nothing to you. Butterflies will fly towards you, or flock on you, or, and a snake won't even bite you. Like it is that powerful. Like and it's really just, I think it's so profound that I think it goes towards the same theme. So I think how I try to live life, Jenny, really, man, I just try to remind myself just try to express love today.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
this book really, I think, and what this goes very profound.
Yeah. And what I also hear in that is that if you don't have it in your heart to do harm, that's a certain energy that you are sending out into the world. And you're absolutely right. It attracts things because, like, what we put out is what we attract back.
It comes
And a
back.
lot
The
of
love
times
from
we are
it.
reactive, not being mindful sometimes of what we're putting out that we've initiated sometimes unintentionally, some of these things that come to us by not being aware of and not operating, like, intentionally and just understanding how, like, nuanced and, like, complex we are as beings and how we really have so much power to shape our responsibility. I mean, excuse me, to shape our reality. Like,
Mhm.
I hear it often with my clients where I don't, because there's a transition that has to happen from being a child and being told what to do, having your life laid out for you, to really taking ownership and creating the life that you truly desire. Where
Yeah.
when we're young, life is happening to us. We have no control over who we're born to, what house we're in, where we live, like what school we go to, all these things. And so you go through life that is your reality, where life is kind of happening to you. And there needs to be a shift to say, how do I want to live? What do I want my life to look like? And so I do spend a lot of time working with clients to shift into that ownership, into being able to be empowered and to create and curate the experience that they desire.
There's so much I want to say about that. I think that's key, because a lot of people don't fail to acknowledge the God within. They fail to acknowledge that, and I think that's the whole, the old concept of just religious. I think people are just falsely taught. They don't read they don't read to understand for themselves. They don't seek understanding
That's it.
because, and I'm thinking about, I don't know if you've ever heard I don't know if it's a story, but uh, the guy that was drowning, and uh, a boat came and threw him a life vest or something, like, "Hey, come on, get on board." You know what I mean? I think you shared it with me. I was sharing it with you, and we was talking
Yeah.
about it. And he said, "No, no, wait on God, wait on God." And then the helicopter came. "Hey, come grab this. We're gonna save you." "Oh, no, 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 wait on God, wait on God." And somebody else, more help came, and then finally the guy drowned and died. He gets to heaven. "God, where were you? I'm upset. I'm livid. You didn't come and help me." "Well, I've sent
Yeah.
the damn helicopter. I did this, I did that." So a lot of people, they don't acknowledge the power. So they, say, "No, I'm sick. I'm just gonna wait here, and I'm not going to the hospital. God is gonna heal me." Not to say, of course, God can and He will if He so choose. Or I'm not gonna
Hmm.
apply for a job. I'm gonna just sit here and God gonna give me a job. No, you use the tools and go. Go. You talk about creating a life that you want, right? You create
Hmm.
your life, and manifest your life, because God
Hmm.
give you all these powers, because and we are
Yeah.
created in His likeness.
Yep.
We like Him in a
Yep.
lot of aspects. So, and I think it just goes to, a lot of people fail to acknowledge the God within, and fail to acknowledge their power, or the power of God within them. I think they need to acknowledge that for sure.
That's so good, and it reminded me of, I can't remember the name of the guy, he's a well-known guy who speaks about, like it's religious based, he's a motivational speaker, but he was saying, like, life is really not as difficult as we make it out to be, that life is pretty simple, and he said Genesis 1:1, and, like, the less than the first 5 words tell us what we supposed to do.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Where are you going with this?" He said, "In the beginning, God created. We are here to create." Like you said, we are made in his image. And so we are supposed to create. And a lot of us are living life as consumers, not harnessing our powers as creators, putting new things out there, right? Or just like outputs, or we're just being passive. We don't think that we have anything to offer, and we all do. But yeah,
But I
it's
will say this, I mean, life is definitely difficult as hell.
and
Definitely
and the
difficult.
Bible tells us that.
Yeah, even Jesus, experienced the difficulty of life, but and it's still two things resonate. One, this too shall pass.
Yep.
And two, you can still create the life that you so desire as well. Well, while it might be difficult and God will be with you, but you can definitely create the life that you desire.
Yeah, and that just reminded me of this scripture, and I think I screenshotted it. Basically, like, if what we're doing is within God's will, like, He will bless it. And that, dang, can I find it quickly? Because I was like, oh, that's so good. Like the Bible, it's really simple. Like, but I'll have to find it later. I'm gonna check one more place. Okay, well, this also applies. But God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. Afterwards, they will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love Him. Right? That's James 1:12. Right? So that right there speaks. We are going to be tested. We are going to be tempted, and if we endure, God's got us. So there's nothing that says that being a child of God, being a Christian, that your life go be easy.
No,
It's
for
we
sure.
have to endure and we will be rewarded.
Mhm.
Okay. So what is it like, or what has been your experience, and or feel free to give advice on this, on recognizing God's voice outside of the church wall?
I don't think I'm fit to give
Sure you
advice on
are.
that.
Okay, maybe not advice, but give your experience.
Recognizing God's voice.
Or presence, like voice, I don't mean literally.
I think presence. I got you. I think presence. That's easy, and
Okay.
that's case by case. I mean, it's a feeling, and only the person feeling it could tell you,
So what
describe
is
it.
that like for you?
I'll be honest with you. I guess the feeling that everybody associate with the Holy Ghost, right? Like
Mhm.
for me, I think I've had that a few moments, and I wish I've experienced it more. At least sometimes that's what I pray for. You experience that presence a little bit more because it's a wonderful feeling. I can't explain it. You ever hear people that talk about, I had this vision, or people that talk about I've died and went to heaven, but unable to describe heaven because
Yeah,
it's one of those things because the words, our language is so limited in terms of when we talk about God, the words we use is
yeah.
limited because God is infinite. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
No, I cannot explain it, but it's a good feeling. It's a feeling that I wish I could have more often, if not all the time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's the feeling aspect of it. But the voice aspect of it, I think God is always speaking to us, but that's why meditation I think is key to hear God. And I think you can know it's God if what you are being what's being said to you, or you being told to do
Mm,
is something that is of good rapport, something that is loving, something that's good. I mean, you could tell that when the devil is talking to you, like, go do this bad thing, go do this negative thing. But if you hear a voice that say, "Hey, do this kind gesture for this person, or do this,"
yeah.
I think one arguably that's God. You know what I mean? So I think that's how I would explain answer that, Jeannie. Sometimes it's difficult, I think, but certainly in meditation, it helps with differentiating, you know, the voice of God or just some random thought. Because a lot of people that say, "Well, I heard God told me this." I don't think God told you to do anything. You know what I mean? But I heard the voice. I don't think that was God, right? So it's difficult.
Yeah, and I've been hearing excuse me, I've been hearing in different places, it's been coming to me, knowing the difference between, like, a God idea and a good idea. right?
Yes,
Because just it could be a good idea, but that doesn't mean it aligns with God's will or
that
vision
is
for your life. And
is true.
sometimes you have to sit with that because the other thing about it is, Satan, he know how to present a good
There you
counterfeit.
go. There you go.
He know exactly what you're looking for, what you like. He knows those quiet things that nobody knows about you, like what really drives you or those desires, right? So he'll present something and see if you're gonna take it. But then that's where, like we were talking about, having that relationship with God and always consulting God and him
Mhm.
being and people be like, sometimes they think it's an insult to refer to God as like as a consultant, but he's the co everything, right? Like
I
he's the
mean,
leader and he's the co. Because like, what can we really do without him? We can't. And when we try to do this stuff without him, it's so much harder. And just because it looks like it's good, that doesn't mean that it's it or that's what he means for you.
yeah, I mean, I don't know to the people that says it's an insult or I don't know what that person is thinking because again, we talk about the words used to describe certain aspects of God. Again, he's cannot describe it, right? You know, God, he is a consultant, he is a friend, he is a father, he is all of these things. He's the person showing up to court for you, although you have a lawyer, right? He's the judge. So he's all of that. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
no. I think it's a misunderstanding, I think, of that
Yeah, and I
person's
think sometimes it's just but it could get to some of that rigidity that comes
Mhm.
with religion too sometimes. But also there's a reverence, right? And so I think for some people it's the rigidity and other people it's the reverence where they feel like they're doing God a disservice. But sometimes that is what he was, and it's not limiting what he is and what he can do, but that's how he may have showed up in that.
Absolutely. But in short, just it's difficult to tell is God is speaking to you. But I think
Yeah.
what helps is, like you said, having that relationship with God, uh, consulting God. Hey, God, was that true? Is that something you really want me to do? That helps. I think it certainly helped, but definitely difficult. Now, I wish um, God comes to me or came to us as he did back in the days. And I hate to say back, I'm sure it still happened like this these days.
Yeah.
That hey, just show up with the angel. "Yo, I'm God. This is me. This is what I want you to do." Right?
Yeah.
Hey, but I think it happens. But I think it happens less these days. Not that it doesn't happen at all.
I think it's just less obvious because it
Yeah.
happens. Like, I've had God clearly communicate to me. I've heard God audibly. I felt the Holy Spirit. He's come through my TV screen. He's come through my phone. He's come through
Hmm.
people. I have just felt like a urge in my spirit that said, turn around,
Look at that.
like where there is no explanation. And I found the scripture that I was talking about. And we are confident that he hears us whenever we ask for anything that pleases him, and
Mm.
that's First John 5:14. So if what we're asking him for pleases him, it's only a matter of time, but we also know that it's going to be on his timing. And what I was hearing you say about sometimes it's hard, I think that's where like discernment and wisdom also comes in. Like, so if we don't know, like really seeking wisdom, and that's something that I've been like incorporating more into my prayers is like, give me wisdom. Cause was that King Solomon, King David's son, who everyone came to him because of that wisdom that God gave him?
Yeah. Solomon. Mhm.
Like, yeah, so if we don't know, we need to like ask for that wisdom. But also, I think too, like mental health perspective as well as spiritual. How do you feel? What's happening in your spirit when this thing that's presented before you, that's a good thing, and you're not sure if it's a God thing? Like, how does your spirit feel? If there's any unrest, anxiousness, tension, like it's probably not God.
Mm.
But either way, though, you can work through that. But like you said, we can go talk to God. We can consult Him, ask Him about it before we move in haste. And if you
Yeah.
feel like you gotta hurry up and move, then it's definitely not for God from God because what's for you is for you and it won't miss you. Yeah. Yeah. Are there any personal experiences that you might want to share, like about having like your experience of faith, like outside of tradition, outside of like religion or like the four walls, and just, cultivating your unique relationship with God?
Ask me that question again.
I say, is there anything else you wanted to share? Maybe about cultivating and working on your faith outside of like tradition, religion, like, those spaces where when it's just you and God?
No, I think we've touched on them all, Junior. I mean, it's meditation, it's reading the Bible, it's reflection, it's fasting, it's just working in short, working on building a relationship more so than saying, "Hey, I go to church on Sunday," or "I said I watched the service," but are you putting into practice? Maybe this is something new. Put into practice what we read, or put into practice what we hear. I think that's something I need to do myself as well. Because one thing knowing the word, but are you putting it to practice? And I think the ones that know the word and don't put it to practice will be judged even worse than the ones that didn't even know the word at all.
And then that's what he gonna say, "I didn't know you." That goes back to that First Corinthians you was talking about. Yeah. So, is there any advice that you would give to anyone listening or watching this who might feel connected from the excuse me, who might feel disconnected from organized religion and how they can work on like reconnecting with God?
Try again. You fall, you get up, you try again. No, yeah, I mean, truly, because we all fall short. We all, like
All
I
of sin
said
and falling
earlier,
short of the glory of God.
there you go. It's a journey, and I don't think anybody will truly, Junior. I don't think anybody will truly find that the destination. If the destination is to be, righteous or so godly or just, perfect, if
Mhm.
and God that you have no blemishes. If that's the destination, nobody's ever gonna
But you're
find that. I
not
don't think
human
anybody have
then.
ever found it.
No, only Jesus has been the one that's perfect.
There you got it. Now, how many times we hear a story in the Bible, it says, we searched everywhere, and it was just Job. I've searched everywhere, and it was just the gentleman with Noah everywhere. So it's really the whole earth. Only Noah that loved God, or was for God. Only Job. So I say that to say, we're talking about advice. Again, I'm not in a position to give any advice,
Yes, you
but
are.
it's truly, you know, um, try to do better each day. You know what I mean? Whether if it's something, like I haven't read my Bible in a long time. I haven't really sat there and reflect on God in a long time. Well, start today.
Yeah.
Start this minute. Start this second, and then the next day, oh man, I fell again. Well, you start again. That's all. I
Yeah.
think God would love that. I don't think we shouldn't be so judgmental of ourselves. And because I think we humans have a human heart. Right? We don't, the way we think, God don't think that like that. You know what I mean? So, I think, and so just try each day to be have a better relationship with God. And I don't want to say be a better person because you could be a good person and still again fall short. So it's not a matter of being good. It's all you doing God's work, all you seeking Him, all you try to live for Him and doing the thing that you to please Him. I think just try it each day.
Yeah, that's good. And as you were talking, you saw I got like a little hype, like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It made me think about this quote that I don't know if The Rock was quoting somebody, but he was like, here it goes. One day or day one.
Mm.
Basically saying, encouraging people to just start. Today is it, day one. Just do it. Like you don't have to wait for anything. It doesn't have to be past tense.
Well,
Day one.
let me leave you with the I posted something, a video, and I don't recall where I get this from, but it says start in April, start on Wednesday, start in your 40s, start at 3:49 p.m., start late, start now. And the same topic we're talking about,
Yeah.
whether you want a relationship with God, you don't have it, or you've kind of fell off a little bit and want to start now again.
Yeah, that's good. Just start. That's what the message is. Okay, so to close us out, I'm going to hit you with the signature question. If you could leave the audience with one powerful truth to help them rise and thrive, what would it be?
God is love. Remember that God is love, and try to spread more love in your daily habits, daily walks.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today and sharing this message of love and
Yeah.
starting with our audience. This is now for you, audience, where your work comes in. So it's time for you to reflect. What spiritual habits bring you closer to God? And then action. We want you to try to spend 10 minutes in stillness, journaling, or prayer without pressure to work on creating that space for God to speak to you. And finally, an episode wouldn't be complete if I didn't leave you affirmed. My faith is not defined by building or tradition. It is defined by my personal walk with God. All right. So, Q, thank you again for joining us. If our audience wants to stay in touch with you, wants to, how do you call it? Get a lawyer. What's the word to get your services?
Schedule consultation to retain my services.
Thank you. Retain. That's the word I was looking for. Yes.
You can find us. Well, first and foremost, we have two locations. One in Bowie, Maryland, off Mitchellville Road, and we have a location right next to the Circle Court for Prince George County in Upper Marlboro. It's called the Elira Law Firm, as Dr. Jeannie mentioned in the beginning. You can find us on Instagram at the Elira Law Firm LLC, and my last name is Elira, the Elira Law Firm LLC, and that's for Instagram as well as TikTok, as well as Facebook. And you wouldn't believe it, Jenny, I think I shared this with you. Majority of my people who reach out to the firm are people who see us on social media, because I'm very engaging. I give legal advice. I kind of give tips on what to do and what not to do. So reach
Yeah,
out
I think you told me one time. You was like, somebody said, "Aren't you that lawyer from TikTok?"
all the time. Believe it or not, people, and I don't know how they able to recognize me in person, but people do it a lot.
You look like you. I don't know. I don't think I've seen one person that maybe I thought kind of looked like you, but I knew it wasn't you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but I don't think I'm able. I will be able to. Maybe I just don't have a good grasp of facial recognition. I don't know, but I
Okay.
don't think I'll be able to see somebody on social media and then spot them in person. Like, oh, that's such and such. I don't, not readily. I don't think.
Okay. Okay. Now you have me cracking up with that recent post. Talk about God is good. I look good. I smell good. I said, what?
That's how I
Off
feel.
my screen.
That's how I feel. Listen, God is great. Is the greatest. You know what I mean? And look, that's how I felt that morning.
Yeah.
Some days, Jeannie, we wake up because life is a roller coaster, like the wave in the ocean. This is life. It's just, you up, you down. That's just life. And sometimes I wake up,
Hmm.
I'm high. I feel really good. And some days I feel down. And that's just life. But, that day I forgot I felt good.
But that's why we gotta have something to anchor ourselves to, right? Because our emotions, they gonna go, right?
Yeah.
But like if we just like follow them and don't have anything that we're rooted in or beliefs, or we don't challenge those thoughts and feelings, like yeah, it could take us into some spaces and places.
Yeah.
um Okay, well, thank you again. This has been such an enriching conversation. And yeah, thank you for spending time and taking time out. And thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Rise and Thrive with Dr. J. Nicole with our special guest, Samuel Q. Elira Esquire of the Elira Law Firm LLC. So make sure you look them up. What types of laws do you practice, in case if they want to know if you're going to be like possibly the right attorney for them?
Good question. The three main, we are a general practice law firm. That means we focus on a lot of different legal areas. But the three main areas that we focus on are criminal, from your traffics to your murders, complex civil litigation, that is auto accidents, breach of contract, that sort of thing, medical malpractice. And then the third one is family law. That's your divorce, custody, child support, guardianship, that sort of thing. But then everything else falls in between: business law, estate planning, landlord tenant.
Okay, so you heard it here. Sounds like
Yeah.
the Laura Law Firm is a one-stop shop for most of your needs. But yes, thank you again for joining us, and we're going to keep rising in faith and thriving in purpose. Remember to tune in every week. Episodes are dropping on Tuesdays at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify Music. Also, the merch is available. You can get your own Rise and Thrive mug too. If
Look
you
at that.
visit, yes. And
I
we also
tell you.
have other merch. We have hats, sweatshirts, t-shirts, notebooks for your own journaling. So make sure you go to the website, www.evolveWithDrJNicole.com, and click the tab about the podcast, and you can shop the merch. So we'll see you next time. Keep rising, keep thriving. Take care.
Thank you.